Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're having a great day. Today's video is going to be a review, swatches, and mini tutorial on the Urban Decay Born to Run palette. I thought about it long and hard. I'm kind of trying to slow down my spending, but I thought that this palette would be worth it because of its color story. I have had this for a while. I've had it for about 2 weeks now. I've been playing with it pretty consistently in that time, and I definitely have some thoughts on it. I've used a lot of the different shadows that are in this palette, and yeah. So let's go ahead and jump in. I have used it every day since I opened it up because I wanted to try as many of the shadows out as I possibly could. I wanted to see what they were like. I wanted to play with the different colors that were available. And I must admit that I have been having a lot of fun with the palette. That being said, let's go ahead and start by talking about the packaging before we go into all of that other stuff. So the packaging for this palette is different in a lot of ways from any packaging that I've received. It is quite sturdy, and it's just your standard thickness for Urban Decay, but it's not in their typical packaging. You know how the Naked palettes were coming out with a very distinct look and feel. This one is very, very different. Of course, it's not meant to be like a Naked palette. I think Urban Decay has taken a kind of a different turn in their palettes. But what I do like about it is that it's not your usual outer packaging. Instead, what Urban Decay has opted to do, and what I love actually, I think it is really, really cute and ties in so well with the theme of this palette, is that they've given you a collage of different locales across the world. So the premise for the Born to Run palette is that it's a one and done. You can take it with you traveling and you'll be set for your jet set lifestyle. I tend to agree with that. I do. And I really love that they tied this outer packaging in with that whole feel for the palette. It is a hard case. And I do really like that. And it does have a magnetic closure. So, you know, even though you don't see the magnets, they are there because it does shut on itself. It has a tremendous sized mirror, and you get your 21 eyeshadows in the palette. Each of the eyeshadows is 0.02 ounces. We've got 7 matte eyeshadows. I think we have about maybe 7 kind of satiny, shimmery kind of eyeshadows, and then we've got a few more in there that are a little bit more intense and have a lot more fire. What I really like about the palette is the color story. The color story is intended to give you the opportunity to create out any kind of look because they've given you everything I think that you would need. You've got a cream color, you've got a black. A lot of people need to have those two shades in their palettes in order to call it like a complete palette. So you've got those two. You've also got a bunch of different beautiful neutral toned shadows that can be used in the transition or on the lid. And then you've got a lot of really pretty punchy colors on this side. You've got this really pretty orange. You've got some really pretty berry shades over here. You've got a lovely, lovely purple here. And then you've got your slightly neutral and cooler tones on this side. You've got a deep blue. You've got a lighter bluish kind of turquoise color. You've got a really pretty green. I mean, this palette is stunning. It is so awesome. They put a lot of thought into how they wanted to come up with these colors, and I really, really think that it is beautiful. As far as the shadows go, overall, some of the mattes I found are very gritty, and I think it has to do with the colors that they are, because pigments sometimes can change the texture of an eyeshadow. Even though they're grittier, they still apply to the eyes beautifully. All of them do. I especially picked out the gritty ones to see how they would perform on the eye, and they actually performed beautifully. All of these eyeshadows are very, very pigmented. They go on very nicely. They go on with a lot of color. I don't have to work really hard at building them up. One thing I will say that I noticed is that some of these colors feel like they are more tightly packed than others. I don't have a lot of kick up, but some of them, I don't know, when I dip my brush in, it just feels like it's a lot more tightly packed and or pressed, I should say, and the color doesn't want to come up as much. But again, I've never had any trouble with pigmentation with any of these eyeshadows. They've all done really, really well on the pigmentation side of things. So, hi everyone, it's future me. No earrings, no anything. I went to review the footage and I lost all my swatch footage. So we're gonna start over on that part. So anyway, here we are. Swatches, yay. Take 4, I think. So starting out with the first row, you've got a really pretty cream color in Breakaway, and it's your typical creamy ivory eyeshadow that you get in pretty much in a lot of the Urban Decay palettes. It's not 100% matte, it's not a satin either, it's kind of sits somewhere in the middle, and it just goes on beautifully. It's so soft and creamy and just highlights that upper brow bone perfectly. Next, you have got a beautiful burnish gold shade, and it is called Stranded. And this shadow is stunning in the sense that it is a really pretty medium gold eyeshadow with a little bit of gold shimmers to it. It's really nice. It catches the light beautifully. It is a really, really pretty gold eyeshadow. The next shadow in line is called Blaze. It pulls more pink. A very stunning eyeshadow. It doesn't have as much pop as Stranded, but I don't think it's a metallic. I think this is one of their satins, or you know, just they're more, I don't know, they're more low-key kind of shimmer shadows. The following shadow is Weekender, and Weekender is a really pretty, just a soft beige eyeshadow. On me, it's very, very close to my natural skin tone, so likely I will use this to help set primer, or if I need a shadow to help blend. Weekender is going to be that for me in this palette. The next shadow is Still Shot, and this one is my absolute favorite of the palette. It is the most perfect salmon apricot orange type eyeshadow. It doesn't pull too peach, it doesn't pull too pink, it falls somewhere in the middle. Any palette that has this kind of a salmony pink transition shade, I'm gonna automatically hone in on that, because for me that is the perfect warm transition shade. It has a really gritty feel, but it goes on to the eye beautifully. You don't get any chalkiness or any of that. The next eyeshadow in the palette is called Riff, and it is what I call a delicious milk chocolate brown. At least to me, that's what it reminds me of. And it is another really, really beautiful transition shade. It just is such a nice medium warm brown. The next shadow is called Good as Gone, and it is what I would classify as a neutral, maybe even pushing cool tone brown. It's just a nice neutral dark brown that you can use to deepen up the outer corners, to deepen up the crease, it's to line the eyes. I mean, it's just a really, really pretty color. The next row starts out with Hell Ride, and Hell Ride is a really pretty berry shade. I'm not gonna say that it is cranberry. It is in that cranberry family, but it feels more berry-like to me. And for being in the red color family, it actually has got really, really lovely texture and also blendability. It is slightly gritty, like Still Shot was gritty, but it blends wonderfully. The shadow next to it is another one of my favorites. It is Baja, and Baja is a bright, intense orange. It's a lovely, luscious, earthy orange. Now what I like about Baja as well as Hell Ride is that both of these eyeshadows, you can use them at different intensities. I have used both Baja and Hell Ride in the crease and then kind of blended it out and sheared it up so that it lightens as a transition, and both of these work in that capacity beautifully. You can intensify them in the crease and then just kind of diffuse them out. So really, really love those two eyeshadows for that quality. The next shadow is one that I am so excited to try. I haven't dug into it yet, and it is called Accelerate. And Accelerate is the loveliest, deepest on fire kind of copper color that I've ever seen. And what I mean by on fire is like it looks like it's got embers, you know, and it's just, it's so beautiful. I love, love, love this eyeshadow because it's deep and rich and has that burning from inside kind of quality to it. I love it. The shadow that's next is another favorite. It is called Guilt Trip, and it is a beautiful red toned purple. Reminds me a lot of the purple that is in the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette eyeshadow. It's that same warm reddish kind of purple that goes very, very well with oranges and the warmer tones in this palette. I am wearing it actually. I've got that as part of my outer corner shadow. After that comes Ignite, and Ignite is a beautiful, beautiful brighter copper tone, not nearly as deep or as rich as Accelerate, but still beautiful in its own right. It's bright, it's metallic, it's copper, it's gorgeous. It is what I have on my inner corners today. It goes on beautifully with a brush. It goes on beautifully with your finger as well. I did not try any of these eyeshadows wet, but I imagine that these metallics that we've got in this palette will intensify significantly. The following shadow, I believe, is one that is in one of the Naked palettes. I don't remember if it's in the Naked 1 or the Naked 2, but it is Smog. And Smog is a deep burnished bronze with beautiful gold reflex, and this eyeshadow is amazing. I love this eyeshadow. I think it is beautiful. I love the depth of it. It's gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. I love it a lot. All right, the last shade in this row is called Wanderlust, and it is that amazingly beautiful olive green that actually has some gold on it, which to me makes it feel a little bit like it's got like a little bit of a khaki shift, or it gives it an army green kind of feel to me. That's kind of what I'm getting from that eyeshadow. Moving on to the last row, we have this beautiful magenta here that is called Wild Heart, and Wild Heart just is, to me, one of the biggest surprises of this palette. It is so pretty and bright. It provides you such a lovely pop of color. I was so surprised by it. I am actually wearing that. I've got that in the center of my lid, and it's a satin finish, so it doesn't have a lot of sparkle or anything, and it is extremely easy to work with. Very, very easy to work with. The shadow next to that is called Punk, and Punk is a little bit on the gritty side. It is a warm toned brown, and I'm always surprised by Punk because in the pan it looks like it has a lot more red than it does when you actually put it on the eye, or at least that's how it comes across to me. The next eyeshadow is called Double Life, and Double Life is kind of like a deep bronzed burgundy almost. This eyeshadow reminds me very, very much of that eyeshadow in the Urban Decay Naked Heat palette that I did not like. It's the one at the very end. It reminds me very, very, very much of that eyeshadow, except that this eyeshadow has the quality that that eyeshadow should have, I think. They may have taken it as an opportunity to reformulate the eyeshadow and make it perform better, but it still has that kind of like that coppery burgundy shimmer, and then you've got that smoky gray undertone underneath it. However, it does perform tons better than the eyeshadow in the Naked Heat palette. The next eyeshadow in line is called Jet, and Jet's not a matte black. I think it's more of a satin matte, and it's not the darkest black that you'll ever come across. But I think that black eyeshadow, you shouldn't have the blackest black, I think, because it can be really, really unforgiving and very hard to work with. And I think softer blacks are better to work with if you're going to be mixing colors, or if you're going to be, you know, mixing it into your eye look to kind of deepen things up or smoke things out. From my perspective, it's much easier to work with a soft black than it is a dark black. The following shadow is called Drift, and I cannot wait to put this on my eyes. It is a beautiful gray. It's like a deep cool tone gray with a little bit of a pink or a lilac shift, and it is stunning, and I can't wait to try this one out on my eyes. I really can't, because it is so pretty swatched. You can see that lilac pink tone coming through. The next eyeshadow is called Radio. And Radio is a gorgeous marine blue. It reminds me a little bit of India ink, or it reminds me of old tattoo ink in that it's got that blue with a green cast to it. I can't wait to work with this eyeshadow. I've seen a lot of eyeshadow looks go up with the blue eyeshadows, which is why I went with Sunset Eye instead. But I've seen so many looks with that eyeshadow and it looks gorgeous in all of them. So I cannot wait to put that on my eyes. And then there's Big Sky, which is a beautiful, beautiful shade of like an aqua green. It reminds me of a seafoam green. And it is so pretty because I can see silvery shimmers in it. And this eyeshadow is, oh, it is so pretty. That's another one that I cannot wait to get onto my eyes. I think that both of the last two colors are really interesting breaks, as well as the magenta, which is Wild Heart. Those three shadows are really the big surprises in this eyeshadow palette, I think. They just bring really pretty pops of color that you can integrate. You can take them warm, you can take them cool, you can do a lot of different things with these shadows in this palette. And that's really what I like about it. It's very versatile in that way because you've got a lot to choose from and you can go in any direction, really. If you are interested in seeing how I came up with this eye look, then stay tuned. But before I go, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Also, if you're not subscribed to my channel, then what are you waiting for? Hit that red subscribe button and also hit the notification bell so that way you don't miss any of my video content. I really do appreciate you guys coming by, hanging out, talking makeup with me. I hope that you enjoy the upcoming tutorial. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Hi everybody. All right, so I've got all my makeup on, my foundation at any rate, and I've primed my eyes. I'm going to start out with Baja and I'm going to apply that into the crease as my transition shade. And I go in pretty heavy with this one. I am using my Moda Pro crease brush to apply that shadow. Next, I'm going to go in with Hell Ride and using my Luxie 229 tapered blending brush, and I'm adding that to the crease to deepen things up. And then blending with a little bit more Baja on the transition, then going back in with Hell Ride and reinforcing that color. Next, I'm going to go in with Punk into the outer corner and I'm going to drag that slightly into the crease. I just want to bring some depth to that spot on my eye. Next, I'm going to go back in with Hell Ride and just blend things out a little bit. Then I'm going to add Guilt Trip to the outer third of my eyelid. And I'm using a small tapered eyeshadow brush from Bare Minerals. Then I'm going to go in with Wild Heart and I'm adding that to the center of my eyelid using the same tapered brush. And then going in with Ignite and putting that into the inner corner. And I'm just flipping the brush around a little bit. I'm adding a little bit more Wild Heart, and then with my finger I've decided to add Ignite because I wanted it to pop a little bit more, and then just blending things out. Next, I'm going in with a little bit more Hell Ride just to deepen the crease, and then adding a little bit more Baja as well to intensify the transition. And then to soften and blend it out, I'm going in with Still Shot on the very outer edges. Then I'm going to go in with Born This Way concealer and adding a few dots and gonna blend that in with my beauty blender. And cleaning things up. I didn't have a whole lot of fallout though. Next, going in with my Peach Perfect powder and setting my under eyes as well as my face. Next, I've got to do my brows, so I'll be right back. And here we are with brows. They weren't behaving very well today. Then I'm going to apply Hell Ride to the lower lash line using a small little shader brush from Vintage Cosmetics or something like that. I got it in BoxyCharm. Also doing the same thing with Baja. Then I'm adding some liquid liner and mascara, and I'll have all products listed down below. I decided to go with lashes today, and I have applied my lashes, and then I'm going to go in with Breakaway and apply that as my brow bone highlight. Then going in with a little bit of Guilt Trip and Punk combined and deepening that outer corner. Next, I'm going in with my Surratt blending brush and blending things out. And I'm coming back with the rest of my makeup. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everybody. Love you.